Welcome back once again here to my podcast. It is myself, Josie with Josie's Esposa Cabrón. So in today's podcast, I am going to share with you guys some thoughts on a question that I asked on my Facebook and on my Instagram. If you don't have it on Instagram yet, go on over, look for Josie's Esposa Cabrón. Find me, add me, follow me, and I'll return back the favor. And yeah, let's get to it, guys. So on my Facebook and on my Instagram, I said a saying. And let me, like always, let me try to explain to you guys why I asked this question. First of all, it's because most likely I'm talking about you and you did it to me, right? Just kidding. The reason why I asked this question was because we had a family event not too long ago. And it was time to eat. And I look over to my husband and I go, are you going to go get your plate already? And he's like, no, no tengo hambre. You go first, right? So I got up and I served myself a plate and I came back. And I must counted, I'm not lying to you guys, como unas 5 personas gave me the most dirty look. Because I came back with a plate because I myself was hungry. And my husband wasn't hungry yet. So he wasn't eating. Okay, I'm sorry. If you guys know how I look, I am a chubby gordita. And I love my food. So, I want to say, after I was done eating everything, I went and say hi to a cousin of mine. And she's like, oh, tú tampoco le sirves el plato a Junior. And I looked at her, I'm like, oh, is that a bad thing? And she's like, no, I don't do it either. And my boyfriend doesn't understand why. So I looked at him and I'm like, because you're abled. That's why. So he too gave me the most dirty eye. So that comes to today's question, or last week's question I want to ask on Facebook is, if a girl does not serve her man a plate, do you have every right to give her stinky eye? Right? Just like me dieron cara de fuchi to me. I'm like, oh. And let me tell you guys, it was overwhelming on the responses I got on Facebook, on Instagram, on private messages and private DMs, right? And then a local journalist asked it on her newsfeed, and then I got some of her answers on there. And let me tell you, 98% of you girls said, absolutely not. You do not deserve to get a stinky eye if you don't serve your man his plate. Only 1%, and if you guys follow me on Facebook, know my sister said she does give a stinky eye because that's the way we were raised. Okay, so let's start. There's a lot to talk about, guys. No voy a tomar mi lonche just so we could talk about this. In the past, in our culture, in the Mexican culture, habían muchos pueblitos. It was a lot of farming going on. Back in the days, women had a lot of kids. Not because a lot of you guys say, oh, because there was no entertainment, there was no TV or whatever the joke is. No, they knew that these kids eventually were going to grow and help out in the farm so they could grow their crops. The mother usually tended to the kids and the house and everything that was housework. The father will go and work the fields and farm and, everything else that came with it. When the father came back home after a long, hard days of work in the campo, in the fields under the blazing hot, the mother had already a hot plate waiting for him so he can eat. This is in the good old days. Also, in the good old days, this couple would have been married because there's no having kids before marriage. So, like I said, that is in the good old days, and that's where the whole serving a hot plate for your man came from. I personally feel the same as 98% of you guys think. We are not in the good old days anymore. Because let me tell you something. If we were in the good old days, means current Latinas or Mexicanas, we would have, majority of us, and let me raise my hand, would have gotten married, then have the children, right? That's tradition. That's how we were raised, right? If we're going to go under, well, that's how we were taught. We were also taught you were supposed to get married, then have the children, and then live happily ever after. But I'm telling you guys, majority of us have not gone down that path. We have the kids. Some of us aren't even with the fathers of our kids, and we move on with life, right? So please do not give me the whole, it's tradition, is the way I was raised. Because if we're going to choose and pick what part of our traditions we like, then we have failed. Secondly, nowadays, it takes 2 incomes to raise a family. I work, my husband works. As you guys know from my YouTube channels, from the podcast, my day starts at 5:45 in the morning every day. Y luego, I continue it all the way to about 11 o'clock at night because of my side business and the extra activities my kids do, okay? So, in the good old days, the men worked and brought home the money. It gave a lot of time for the women to have the hot plate. I do not stay home all day. I work all day. So when my husband comes home, he does not have a hot plate. He has insert restaurant here, or we wait till we get home and we cook together. So I don't serve my husband a plate. I have never served my husband a plate. Again, my mom did do that to my dad, and still to this day does it. My mom serves her husband a hot plate. Husband. Because the men, if you're listening and you're waiting for your woman to serve her hot plate, that means you're stuck in the old days, right? And the old traditions. So therefore, you better have your woman at home and act like the good old days and marry her before she's serving you any plates and having any children. But again, we choose not to want to do that tradition part of our culture. We want to do the other ones, right? I don't like when it is expected for a woman to do it. Why is it expected for a woman to do it? Because if we're going to expect a woman to do something, then we're going to hold the same standards to a man on expecting him to do something. Like I said again, have me at home, ganando el cheque, mientras, I clean and cook and do all of the above. Now, if you enjoy serving your man, good for you. I will not give you a stinky eye. So if I don't give you a stinky eye, don't give me a stinky eye because of my way I think and believe. Now you're just looking at me with a stinky eye because I'm not doing what you're doing. Correct. Don't get me wrong. En la casa, I do serve my man. I make breakfast and I do put his pancakes, his bacon, huevos con jamón, and the sausage. And then I bring it to the living room because he likes to watch TV as he eats. And his coffee is ready just the way he likes it, with cream and 2 scoops of sugar with the syrup and the ketchup. Y su tenedor listo para comer. Yes, I do that at home. You want to know why? Because I already know that's me making breakfast, and I do it to my kids too. I serve them their plates, and my daughter likes it to be, chopped off in little pieces because she's just special like that. But I do it at home, 1, because I'm not going to show off lo que yo no soy. 2, something I cook, I like to display. I like to display what I cook. Look what I cook for you guys con mucho, mucho amor, right? My husband does it to me too. If it's turn to make dinner or something, he serves my plate and he goes, look what I've served. Ta-da! But no, I do not serve my man his plate. If we go somewhere, los tacos, he likes it a certain way. He knows just the right amount of onions, cilantro, guacamole, salsita verde. He likes and knows how he likes to serve his plate. I am not going to serve a plate and then come back and him say, no me gustó, right? He's old enough. He gets up. He serves his plate. Have you ever gone to parties, guys? And I see these moms carrying like 3 platos porque les van a servir al señor, a su hombre, and then the kids. And then they're going to go back again. And you know what? Like I said, if that makes you happy, then do you. But if you're doing it because you're expected to do it so you don't get that stinky eye like I did, that's wrong. Because now you're stressing about not dropping those plates on the floor. It's like, Jesus, get up. Right? Because now we're in a society where, like I said, los dos tienen que trabajar. So in my household, guys, and this is off the topic, but a lot of you guys did mention it, is in my household, it does work that way. If I had time to clean, I cook, and then, work on the business. In my husband's home, and he has time to do that, then he does that. He does laundry. He does dishes. He cooks. He doesn't do bathrooms, and I'm okay with that because I like doing bathrooms. But he does it all. Because it's not 50-50, guys. It's 100%. Both of us are giving our 100% into this relationship. Like I said, he works, I work. He cooks, I cook. He cleans, I clean. He makes the bed, I make the bed. It's whatever you can do that day, just do it. It's I think it comes down to the whole expecting. And when you start leaving tradition behind, porque ya no es tradition, like I said, if y'all want to talk about tradition. Ya es more, I expect you to serve me a hot plate, or I expect you que me sirvas when we're at a party, okay? I had a story, one of you guys shared a story from me on Facebook that you were breastfeeding and, it was just a messy leak that day, messy day, busy day, and your husband got up and served you and him a plate. And yes, you too got the stinky eye. And that to me is like, ¿por qué? If you serve so much, love to serve platos, and I'll take, 5 tacos de carne asada because I'm on a diet, and my husband will take 4. Digo, si tanto quieren ser servidoras. Me personally, no, I don't. Like I said, and never did it with my boyfriends. Never. None of my boyfriends, because they were just boyfriends. Y mi esposo, que sí lo merece, I don't, like I said, because he's a big boy. He knows how to serve his plate. He knows how he likes his plates. There's nothing in a book that I know that says you need to serve your man other than it is tradition. But in my eyes, a lot of us stopped doing traditions a long time ago. A long time ago, guys. We lost a lot of our traditions. So we can't pick and choose. Your man's able, do it. Your kids are able, let them do it. You know what? There's going to come up a time where you're not going to be there. God forbid. Jesus takes us with him soon. Y se quedan sin madre. And we hear it all the time from, I know my mom said it to me, ¿Qué van a hacer el día que me muera? What are you guys going to do the day I die? And that's true because, they were taught, hey, do everything for the kids. Do everything for your man. But we're not in those days anymore, guys. I just can't see myself being expected to do that. Like I said, okay, well, we expected y'all to get married too, and none of y'all did. We expected you guys to have your kids after marriage, and well, none of us did. So it's just the whole expecting aspect of it, and the fuchi eyes. Like I said, if you're giving me a fuchi eye because I'm not serving my husband a plate, that's you being forcing your opinions on me. So then I'm going to come back and force my opinions on you too. And then I'll give you a 2 or 3 of what you're doing wrong in my eyes too. Should we give people stinky eye? No. Should we look at them like, no. Older generation, maybe because that's the way they were raised. Your tias, your moms, la vecina. But this newer generation now, guys, like me, who I'm 37, we shouldn't be giving anybody stinky eye because they're not doing stuff that were done in the good old days, kind of like having 10 kids. Ya no necesario to have 10 kids. This is why we only have 2 or 3, or me in my case 2. Because first of all, they're expensive. We're not in the good old days where, la leche was 50 cents, and we don't need so many. We really don't. And if you guys Google why, big families were a thing back then, you will find out why. It was mostly to help out in the farming and raising the older kids, raise the younger kids. Ya no se puede. We're not in those times. Stop it. It is not. Stop it being an expectation for, and most likely Latina community, because a lot of people that said hell no are of the, they're not Mexican descent. They're not in our culture, and they said no, and they don't expect it. I asked my coworker here at work, and he's half Mexican, half American, and I said, hey, your mom's Mexican. on your half, does she serve your dad a plate? He's like, no. And then I said, oh, okay. And I said, do you expect the woman to serve your plate? He's like, why would you do that? Like, I'm not a baby. That was his reaction, right? Why are you serving my plate? I'm not a kid. So it's different. I think it is more of a culture on this one. But, si me quedé sacada de la onda, the fact that, five easy to look at me like, you're eating and your husband's not. No, because he don't want to eat. I'm not going to beg. And he knows how to serve himself. And usually he serves himself very, very well. Él sí se pone su mucho guacamole. If you guys know me, I cannot stand guacamole. I don't like avocado. I can't. I just can't. So he goes off and do that. But like I said, at home, 100%. I submit to my husband when it comes to that if I have the time, because I like it. Not because it's expected or nada de eso. No, because I like displaying my art. Here you go. I took all this time to make these fluffy pancakes, or esta carne, o me salió bueno el arroz. Here you go, displaying time. So no, guys, I also agree with 98% of you guys who said he has 2 feet, 2 hands, go for it, right? And if you want to give me a stinky eye, then analyze yourself why you're giving me a stinky eye, right? And it's like I said, if you're that perfect in old traditions and do as you are expected as a woman, then I'm going to start calling out the flaws that you have not met to society of what they expect you to do. That's just what I think. And I thank you all for your thoughts about this one. Like I said, a very respected journalist here in LA shared my post, and she got reactions, and the reactions were the same. No, it's not expected. It's everything is whoever can nowadays, and that's basically it. And that's exactly how I feel too. If it's an expected thing from you, then I'm not going to do it just to show off. I'm not going to look stupid as I drop los tacos on the floor because no quiero que me den caras. But you know what? If you're giving me a cara, like I said, and I know you will, I'm going to call you out on your flaws too then. If you're going to give me a stinky eye on my quote unquote flaw, then I'm going to give you a stinky eye on your plus. Yeah. Guys, once again, I want to thank you so much for listening. We are at 232 listeners. If you guys can share my podcast, I would love to hear from newbies. Comment on my Instagram, or DM me. You guys know that a lot of times I do screenshot, but I don't put your guys' name, just to keep it safe and sound, because there are a lot of lurkers out there que no dicen ni siquiera hola. So yes, go ahead and do that. I will be posting another question of the day today, Monday. And then again, I will try my hardest to give you guys your responses on Friday. Just a quick reminder, just know that every time I do post a question of the day or of the week or a thought, it is something that occurred to me in my life, or it recently did. But if you guys think it's about you, then go ahead, wear that shoe very proudly. And probably I'm talking about you. Who knows? Thank you so much once again for sticking around. Don't forget to come back on Friday. Don't forget to give me all your thoughts about this podcast. Share. And until then, this has been myself, Josie. Remind you guys that I say, pues, ta cabrón. Bye, guys.